Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to talk about extended sway bar links, and if you add them to the rear of the 4Runner, does it actually add more suspension travel? First I want to talk about why I even think this is important. So the Fox suspension that I got from AccuTune Offroad actually uses Tundra rear shocks in the rear so that you get 2 more inches of droop travel on the 4Runner. The problem with that is when I installed them, I noticed that at the sway bar link, this sway bar has kind of a slant to it, and it actually binds at the sway bar at full droop. So it limits the amount of travel the shock can actually get. So the shock should be the lowest point where the suspension stops. However, from what I can tell, the suspension is stopping when it binds at the sway bar. So adding longer links to the rear should help get that extra bit of travel out. So how I have everything set up to show this today is I have jack stands under the frame of the 4Runner. I have the axle with a jack underneath it, so this is simulating ride height. What I'm going to do is drop the axle down and then measure, from maybe the top of the brake to the fender to see how far the suspension droops. Then I'm going to switch the links out, and then we'll do the same test to see if we've gained any travel. And then I'm going to go down to the RTI ramp at 4-wheel parts and then test real world to see if it makes a difference. Okay, so I'm going to let down the suspension and just watch the sway bar as I extend the axle travel. Okay, so there's no more travel left in the axle. It's completely down. And as you can see here, this sway bar is at a pretty extreme angle. And I'll zoom in here so you can see. Okay, so the top of the sway bar the sway bar link is really bound up, and the angle it's creating with the actual sway bar is pretty extreme. So in theory, if I add a longer link, the sway bar itself will be level and allow the shock to droop out more, the axle to droop out more and get the full travel out of the shock. Okay, so for our baseline measurement, I'm measuring from the top of the axle tube to the bump stop, and I'm just going to use this flatter edge at the top here, which is about 11.5 inches from the axle to that set point we're going to use. Okay, here you can see I just disconnected the sway bar completely, and now we'll remeasure from the axle tube, and we're the exact same length. All right, so I was wrong about the binding. We'll go see if it changes in a real-world flex test. Okay, before we head down to the RTI ramp, I just wanted to go over the options that I have here. So here's the stock 4Runner rear sway bar link. This is an extended length one from Moog. And then this right here is an adjustable sway bar link from Overland Custom Design. We'll take some measurements so you can see them up close. Okay, so here we'll see all the length differences that each of these has. So the stock one from the middle of the ball joint to the mounting surface is about 5.5 inches long. The Moog is about 6 3/8 inch long, and then fully compressed, the adjustable one is about 6.5 inches long, and then extended with a safe amount of thread showing, we'll get about 7.25 inches. All right, so I'm here at 4-wheel parts. Here's their RTI ramp they have set up. It's 20 degrees, I already checked it, so let's run it up and see what happens. Right now we have the stock sway bar links installed. All right, here we go. It's in 2-wheel drive so that the wheel will spin when I get close. Oh boy. All right, that's it right there. All right, so here's a measurement. Before I filmed, I did a test run, and I actually got a little farther than here. So what I did was, you have to line it up with the center of the wheel and find the location on the ramp. So it's going to be on this side of the tape is the farthest distance. So I'll measure from here down to the ground and see what we get. So at 63 inches, if we measure all the way to the ground, I don't know if you're supposed to measure at the top of the ramp, and it's about 53 3/4 if we just measure the ramp. So I'm going to switch out the sway bar links and then see if it makes a difference. Real quick before we swap out the links, I just wanted to show what it looks like under side load with the sway bar link on the driver's side. All right, so I'm back at the RTI ramp. We have the new extended sway bar links installed. Gonna run it up the ramp and see if it makes a difference. All right, so we have the tape mark from our last attempt with the stock sway bar links, and honestly I need to buy a bigger square, but we'll see if we can make sure. And I don't even have to measure it, it's at the exact same spot. So I believe this was 63 inches. So the extended sway bar links didn't really make a difference on the RTI ramp. So now we know. Okay, so now we see that it doesn't matter. Truly though, when I first installed the Fox suspension, it does have extended travel shocks in the rear, and there was a limiting factor when I first installed it in the garage. The suspension wouldn't droop out all the way due to the length of the stock sway bar links. The only thing I can think of is at some point the bushing has worn enough so that it was able to cant to give the Fox suspension enough droop travel. So now that we see that it really doesn't matter that much as far as suspension travel, I still think it's important to get the correct height so that the sway bar is level with the road, so it'll work more on the road. I haven't experienced any failure with these stock sway bar links. I know some people break links. I haven't broken any, and these Moog ones are about the same diameter as the stock ones. They're just longer. So because of that, because it doesn't really add much travel and really all you're doing is adding more road performance, I would get the cheaper version. These are only like $30, $40 on Amazon compared to like the $190 that the heavy duty sway bar links cost. So this just goes to show you not every experiment is going to turn out the way you thought it would. And now we all know. So let me know in the comments below other parts you'd like to see tested or any other things you'd like to see done with the 4Runner, the Bronco, just to give you my experience and my opinion. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.